you guys for showing up and clicking on the video and everything else, man. Listen, guys, we're gonna we're freaking locked and loaded tonight, baby. Freaking locked and loaded tonight, man. I got my boy Overtime Trucking. He's with us here tonight. And bro, we are gonna talk about trucking, dude. We're gonna talk about trucks, new trucks, old trucks, Freightliners, Peterbilts, all kinds of different trucks. We're gonna get to a lot of different questions. And he's going to give us a lot of. He's an expert, man. This guy's a fleet owner. He's got the family business, and man, I'm excited to have him on, dude, because he's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in this kind of stuff, and he has his own YouTube channel. But Parker, this is Parker from Overtime Trucking, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. The weather's been good in Utah, so can't complain too much. Things are going good. How are you?
Good, man. Good, man. So
Where are you
tell
at?
us,
Oh,
I,
sorry.
dude, I'm from an undisclosed location, man.
Oh,
I'm in an undisclosed location, man. No, man, I'm somewhere around Minnesota. So I'm hailing from Minnesota tonight,
nice.
and but dude, tell us, so where do you do? How did you get into trucking? And just kind of tell us where you are today and stuff, and let us know, man.
I think you're giving me too much props. I don't know if I'm an expert, but we've been trucking for almost, well, probably 8 to 9 years now. But we were mostly doing local. So we had recycling and a trash yard that we operate. And so we would do the local hauling in bulk, overweight. Um, and then it kind of transitioned, as you know, that the trucking market in COVID was crazy. So we started hauling our own out of state stuff, and just started growing and growing. We got our own authority. So we have our motor carrier authority, and now we have uh, 5 local trucks and 10 sleeper trucks that go over the road. And I do all the dispatching and driver managing. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's good. It's a family, small, but we've got a couple trucks, so it's good.
Tell him Parker is the freaking executive of that company, man. He's the freaking director of operations, VP, oversight, whatever title you want to give him. It don't matter, man. You do a little bit of everything over there, man. You do some mechanical stuff too. You oversee some of that stuff as well, and you know your way around trucks and the industry and stuff, man. And it's been cool. We've talked on the phone and stuff, and man,
Yeah.
it was just a really great. So I'm excited to dive into that. But bro, I watched the video on your profile where you talked about the Kenworth W900, man, and you got it all souped up, and you had that thing out there, man. It was a pretty truck, the most dream truck that everybody on the road just stares at when it pulls into the truck stop.
Yeah.
And you talked about giving it in to a driver. You had a raffle. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you tell the story. Let me give a few shout outs here. Grizzly Ridge, what's up, man? Lamont Patterson, what's going on? Ryan Sims, man, where you been? Been trucking, bro. Wildflower, what's up, girl? She's over here next to me. Trucking with T-Bone, what's up, dude? Everybody check out Trucking with T-Bone. He's got a channel too. So go ahead, tell us a story, man.
All right. So I mean, when we first started, obviously, when you first start any company, you're like, you don't really want to invest a lot of money into this venture, your business venture or whatever. You don't know if it's going to work. And to kind of preface it, we were doing the local heavy stuff. You know, we in Utah, we can have the overweight double sets, and we can be grossing uh, up to 130,000 pounds. And so we were trying to go the route of buying old trucks and retrofitting them. And in my heart, I still love old trucks. If I was a single owner operator, I probably would buy an old truck, but just when you have company drivers, it's really hard to retrofit, fix all these trucks up, and send them on the road because old trucks, you have to repair them as they go. Things break as you.
Right, right. Yeah.
So it's just we kind of learned pretty quickly on that drivers really prefer the newer trucks, and so we've slowly been able to get newer and newer trucks as we've gone, and what we've done has really changed. So that's helped a little bit. But that's what we did when we started. We bought a whole bunch of old Peterbilts and W900 Kenworths and put all new engines in them. And the drivers just didn't like them. They just thought they were crap.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's you always want to drive that truck until you get into that truck and realize the dimensions are so much like the longer nose, how you're turning the turning radius on it,
Yep.
everything changes, man.
Yeah.
And dude, it's cool. It's a cool concept until you get in one, and then you're trying to do it and drive it in town and stuff. It's a whole nother animal, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like it's just funny because like every driver talks about, I'm gonna get me a long nose, or I'm gonna get this or this, and then when you finally have got it for them, they're like, nope, nope, get me out of this thing. I want my little bubble truck back. Like
Yeah.
I just rather prefer that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We had a
working.
it was a 2002. It was a W900 day cab, but we did all shocks, brakes, tires, alignment, bushings. We dropped a new C15 cat engine in it, 600 horsepower. It was free.
Uh,
I loved that truck, but it was not comfortable. You couldn't hear your radio because it was so loud. Uh, but yeah, so we did that. We put chicken lights all on the side, and
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
we had a raffle at Christmas time, and all the drivers would at the time we had the 2 yards, but all the drivers would come past the shop at the end of every day, and they would see it as we were working on it. So we put a new transmission and engine in it, and of course, all the drivers are like, "I want the new truck," and
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so the one driver we literally drew lots and had a raffle. And the first driver that we gave it to, he drove it for like 2 weeks, and he's like, it's too loud. And he got out,
Yeah, yeah,
and we went through all the drivers. They all took a turn and decided they didn't want the truck. And so it kind of became my truck for a while. I was really the only one that was driving it. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, yeah, it's a comfort versus a power thing. When you're getting into trucking, it really depends on what you're doing or what you're going to use the truck for, how long you want to own the truck. And so yeah, it's just company drivers really not, you know not that they're not taking care of the truck, but they prefer the newer truck with the more creature comforts. And that's just kind
yeah.
of learned. And warranty, it's really hard to get warranty on an old truck. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell us the working with the different trucks that you've got to work with. What would you say is your favorite truck? Because we're going to talk about all the trucks tonight. But
Yeah.
what would you say your favorite truck would be?
Well, my personal truck right now is my Freightliner Coronado, but that's kind of a one-off truck because it's a glider. You know about the gliders, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I really like that Freightliner Coronado, but I wouldn't want to drive it if I was a company driver. I'd want a new truck. So I like some of the Freightliners and Peterbilt. I like the Peterbilts. I just like the way that they're laid out, and I don't know.
like inside the cabin.
Yeah, it's like Ford versus Chevy. Are you a Ford guy or a Chevy guy? I mean, they're the same truck. They do the same,
Yeah,
but I don't know. We've always just kind of been with Peterbilt. Uh, I mean, depending on who you ask, if they'll say they're crap or they're good. I don't know. It's personal.
right. Yeah, yeah. Everybody's got their own. Everybody, even people have their own experience with different brands of trucks. Like, well, I had a Peterbilt and it broke down every week. And
Yeah,
then some people are like, well, I had a Freightliner and it just ran through every pothole and snowstorm and this, and it just held up. And then other people think Freightliner breaks down every week too. So everybody has these different experiences at different companies and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's interesting. But that Coronado, man, that is a pretty truck. That's like the maroon reddish truck, right? Yeah, man, that's a really pretty truck, man.
but
Very
but
pretty truck, dude.
I bought that truck on the auction, so that was kind of it's not a typical situation. I bought it sight unseen. I didn't know nothing about it, and I've now spent more in repairs on that truck than I did buying the truck. So it's kind of a toss up if you get a good deal or not on an auction truck. Um,
Right, yeah, yeah. sight unseen, man. It's always a roll of the dice. 100. It's always a roll of the dice anytime you buy a truck.
Right.
But it's 100% a roll of the dice when you buy on auction. But we're gonna talk about that. But what we're gonna shifting into kind of like finances and stuff like that. Um, how much money do you think you need when you're buying a truck? Like, this is how much money you put into a truck. This is how much money is left over for maintenance costs up front. Like, how do you do it? Like, what's your like budget kind of like how do you allot the funds for a truck? Like, and I'm just talking about a single truck buyer, purchaser. He's buying his first truck. How do you allot funds and percentages and kind of just talk about that?
Yeah, I mean that would be hard to give a definite answer on. I mean, everyone's situation's a little different. You probably, if you are a one truck operation, you probably want 20 to 30,000 in a maintenance fund. I would say, and I don't know, trucks are pretty cheap right now. So I mean, honestly, trucks are probably cheaper than they've been in the last decade. Uh, so if you got a 2 year old truck, you could probably get it 400,000 miles. I don't know, 50 to 60,000. You could finance it and put 15,000 down if you have good credit. I don't know. It's hard to say because again, like, what are you doing with that truck? Are you saying like what you do with reefer or what? Anything?
Yeah, just probably just general freight, refrigerated freight, just like that's what I'm talking about. Just a very generalized owner operator who's going to haul for Landstar, who's going to haul for some creek carrier or one of these prime or something like that where they're just getting a truck, they're leasing it onto a larger company
Right.
and they're going to run that, just generalized real non-specific freight. So you would say buying a 2-year truck, you would put if it cost 50 to 60,000, you would put 15,000 down on it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the more you put down, the better the rate's going to probably be. But again, it kind of depends. What's your experience? Have you owned trucks before? Or is this your very, very first truck? That's again, it kind of depends on. There's a lot of factors that would contribute to that. But I mean, if it's just a single truck, I would say a 2 year old truck's just as good as a new truck. Um, but try and get as low of a monthly payment as you can, but also be prepared because your insurance as a single owner operator is probably going to be more than your truck payment. So a lot of guys don't know that when they first buy a truck. They're just like, all I have is my fuel and my truck payment, and that's it. And if I could live on that, but even that's kind of hard because more than likely your insurance is probably going to be more than your truck payment. Depending on again other variables, but your insurance could be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 a month, and so that's double what you would think your monthly payment would be. So there's a lot more expenses than just your truck payment, and obviously the newer the truck, you're hoping to offset your maintenance costs with a newer truck, but again, like you said, it's a roll of the dice. Anything can happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and but the main thing is if you got a 2-year old truck, you would keep 20,000 in a maintenance account, and that would be a safe bet for you.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean, as much as if you could get more in a maintenance fund, but 20, I'd
So
probably just,
minimal.
yeah. But
Yeah,
again,
so you would say 30,000 would be a safer bet. Like try to shoot for 30 and
yeah.
then try not to let it go below 20.
But also again, it can depend on other things like who are you leasing on with? Because if you lease on to Landstar, I think they pay for some of your insurance. I don't know. I've never worked for Landstar or Crete, so I don't know what insurance if they pay for your insurance, then maybe you don't need as much. Um, but yeah, somebody that's leasing on and talking to a recruiter would know more about that. But yeah, I'd say 30,000 is a good amount to be to.
Yeah, so 30,000 would be your recommended amount to have in a maintenance fund.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good, man. That's good information. And where should somebody look to buy a truck? First truck they're buying, where would you recommend somebody looking? Like, I mean, because I know where I found my truck, but I want you to answer the question and kind of give us your take on that.
Well, the last three trucks I bought, I found on Facebook. So Facebook, that's, I mean, dealerships are getting smart. They're posting it on Facebook, and yeah, you'll just go truck shopping. There's so many Facebook groups that I'm in, and like I don't even use Facebook to stay in touch with my friends anymore. It's all just truck posts, trucks for sale, trucks hiring wanted drivers, trucks. So yeah, Facebook is a pretty good place to go. You can go to Truck Paper is another place. I've sold a couple trucks on Truck Paper. Do you know what Truck Paper is?
Yeah, I tried selling my truck back in the day on truck paper.
Yeah, they suck because it's. I mean, they don't suck. It's a you have to pay every month, right? It's like $300 to list it.
Yeah, dude, I paid a lot of money. It was like I paid them like $800 or something, man, to list it out for a couple months or something. It was like the listing price
You
plus the months and leading into it. And yeah. And the only phone calls I got from it were people who
want to finance or something?
no, well, I had a couple like what I had was a couple dudes who were like they worked for another website.
Yeah,
And they were like, "Dude, I've got buyers for this truck right now. Like, all you need to do is list it on my website, and I'll get it on there." I was like, "Well, if you've already got somebody to buy it, you put it." I'll tell you what, because they were like, "Well, $200, you can list it on our website." And I was like, "Bro, let me tell you something, dude." I said, "Here's what we can do. You list it on there since you've already got the buyer. Once I sell the truck, I'll give you the 200."
yeah.
And
I'll
then
pay.
he hung up the phone on me, dude. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't wanna like, like, we're just so stupid. Like, I guess the people fall for it though, you know?
yeah. Well, it's you're exactly right because I've done that too. I've sold probably over 15 trucks and even more trailers. I've sold tons of trailers. Like we sold. Sorry, is my face blurred out? The sun's coming out. I might need to move.
No, you're good.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll move over here. Uh, Sorry, I don't have any window coverings. Maybe that's a little better. Um, yeah, I've sold a lot of trailers and trucks. So same thing. They would call me and say, listed on my website. I've got way more people here. And the funniest thing is I was selling a Rocky Mountain double set, the really long trailers, and I had a guy do that same thing and say, I'll sell it. I've got people looking exactly for this, and I'm like, you can look all over the country. This is a unique trailer. This is the only one listed right now, and I know that. And then same thing. He hung up the phone. So uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, they are, dude, it's just scammers, man. But so I mean, you talked about Facebook truck paper. What about dealerships? Do you have any experience with dealerships? Have you ever talked to like, you know, maybe a company selling their like a large company selling their old trucks? Have you what about that kind of experience?
I've never bought from a big company. I have bought from dealerships before. You just have to be careful because they're going to mark it up probably 20 grand more than it's worth. But maybe that's worth it if you've got a connection. Um, I mean, my two brand new trucks that I just bought for a screaming deal were from dealerships, so they're not all bad. But you want to not be so reliant on just the local guy. So anything you can do to shop around, I don't know. Try.
Yeah, yeah. I had a really, really, really bad experience buying my first truck from a guy. It was from Trans Am. It was
Yep.
like Trans Am truck sales. And I don't mean to give him a shout out. I don't like the guy. Don't go to him. Go somewhere else. But, I went there, man, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a great truck. This one sounds really we're driving it, we're test driving it around, He's like, "This one sounds really good. It's got a really great motor and the sound," and it's just like, "Okay, dude," like, like you're so cheesy, bro, just so stupid, like, and I see right through that, man. I can read somebody who's just trying to flatter and selling like pitching me a sales pitch or something. And so I'm in there and I'm like in there and I'm like I'm adjusting the mirror. So as soon as I get in the truck, I'm adjusting the mirrors. Well, the one on the passenger side wouldn't adjust. It wouldn't like the motor wouldn't work.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, the mirror's not adjusting. This is broke over here, man. You're gonna have to fix that. And he was like, it's fine, man. It's fine. I was like, dude, it's not fine, dude. The motor's broke in that mirror, dude. You're gonna need to fix that before I pay for this truck, man. Like you need to have everything in this truck needs to be in working order that I check over.
Yep.
And like, bro, it was like this huge ordeal. And but yeah, I didn't have a good experience, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, also trucks were in high demand. I mean, every week he would come out with like 3 or 4 more trucks from Trans Am, like the fleet, to
Yep.
sell. And it was like every week it was a markup. It was like in 2020, those trucks were just escalating
Yep.
per the week, you
Yeah.
know. And so like every 2 or 3 every week it was like $2 or $3,000 extra, $2 or $3,000 extra, 2 or 3 like, and so it just kept building like that for a long time. I mean, but he
Yeah.
was making a killing, dude, making a killing. I mean, I had to it took me like a month to schedule in to get that truck. So it's insane to me, man. It's very insane. But but I saw the advertisement on Facebook, if that goes to your point. Like, it was an advertisement on Facebook, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay," so I clicked on it, found it, got in there, but I went to a couple dealerships, and, um, nobody was taking me serious, you know, and that's what I was running into that a lot too, like, nobody was taking I guess because I don't know, man, but, I was pretty serious, so,
Well,
uh
if you are shopping around, they're a lot more eager today than they were 4 years ago to talk to you. So
Yeah, 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 dude, they did not care. It
yeah.
was like, "Oh, you're just buying 1 truck and you want it used? Nah, okay.
Yeah.
No, alright," you know, like, it was like I was just mud on their boots, man, but now you're probably right. There's probably a big market, that they're trying to get rid of and, are desperate to talk to somebody.
Well, you just
So,
drive to the dealership. Every parking lot's full of trucks. There's trucks everywhere now. So yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Because and a lot of owner operators have quit, got out of the business. They're either going company or just flat out leaving trucking as a whole. And so it's a bad market. It's been a bad market for the last couple years. I mean, I obviously got out of it. I was pretty bitter. I got out of it. I was just ready to be done with trucking too, man. I mean, I couldn't even stand the smell of a truck stop.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember going into them, just smelling it, and then hearing that little "Customer 541, your shower is ready in
Yeah.
shower 7." You know, like, you're like, "Oh my goodness, man."
Be courteous.
I was
Always
like
forward. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, "PT yeah, yeah, please pull forward," and the fuel like, PTSD, man, for trucking, dude. Like, I just like, I wanted out. I didn't wanna touch another truck or nothing like that, and then I got out of it, however long, man, and then I was ready to get back into it, man. I was ready to get back into it. It was, it's, you know, it's a love-hate relationship, you know? You know how it
It's
goes. It's
fun.
like great weeks, and then all of a sudden you have like a bad week or a bad month, and you're like, I hate this. I hate everybody in this, and I hate to be, you know, but yeah. So yeah, so online are some places you talked about that, and um,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I
well,
mean,
let's,
there are benefits of being local as well. You can go look at it, put your hands on it, see see the truck, take it for a test drive. But yeah, definitely know what your options are.
yeah, let's get into um to trucks and because we talked about this on the phone a little bit too, new versus old. Buying I'm talking about a brand new truck, fresh off the lot, plastic on seats. Nobody's drove this. It's probably got 1,000 miles because it had to go from wherever to wherever, point A to point B to dealerships.
Right.
Versus a used truck, and you can classify a used truck as a year old, 2 years old, 20 years old. You know, kind of give us the rundown on telling us would you say to a new truck driver, uh, new versus used, what would you, a new truck buyer, what would you say? What would you say to them? What would you recommend?
Uh, I mean, it's all trucks have problems, so it's kind of like what can you handle? What are you used to? Um, I don't know. That's really hard to say if I don't know the person or know what they're doing. But you're going to have less catastrophic failures with a new truck, but you may have more sensor problems with emissions. Um,
Yeah.
but but you do have warranty that should cover that. And if you did have something terrible go wrong, I mean, I've got my 2023 Peterbilt right now is that Peterbilt, and it needs an engine harness. And the truck's been in the shop for 2 weeks waiting for this harness. So, I mean, it's going to be paid for, but I don't have the truck for too long. So it's more like, what can you handle? Because when you buy a truck, you're going to have to deal with breakdowns, whether it's brand new or not. Um, I don't know if you're asking this or not, but I don't think I would recommend you buy a brand new truck if it's your only truck.
Okay.
Unless you've
Yeah,
got a.
I am asking that actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I more than likely I probably wouldn't, unless you've already got a good gig lined up to drive that truck. But even then, I don't know if I'd recommend brand new.
Really.
Is that the?
Yeah. Yeah, no, man, and so you're of the opinion go for a used truck, because I know for me, I know that I'm no mechanic. Like, and I know you've got mechanic ability. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you may not be a master mechanic who can like tear an engine apart and throw it all, and every little nook and cranny and combustion engineer, whatever, but you've got ability and skills with a wrench. You can handle, your way around that dynamic of maintenance. I don't know nothing, bro. Like, I think I'm the boss just for changing the light bulb. I'm like, "Dude, check this out, bro. I'm a diesel mechanic now all of a sudden."
Right.
Like, I don't know nothing, dude. So for me, when my truck broke down, it was like to the shop we go. And I had the PACCAR, and nobody likes working on the PACCARs. And, I had a lot of, but, so for me, even if I ever thought about buying a truck again, I would really lean towards buying at least a newer truck, maybe not brand new, but it
Well,
would be newer for sure.
I would say that too. A 2-year-old truck that has 2 to 300,000 miles, I think, would be just as great for you, and you save $60 or $70,000 on the purchase price.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but again, it depends on what you're doing. Do you have a good gig, or are you just free go on the spot board and see what you can do?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I would always recommend if somebody's buying their first truck, I would always say lease onto a major carrier, Landstar, somewhere, there's lots of I always use Landstar because that's like the biggest generalized freight owner operator fleet out there. You know what I mean? So I always say like go to somewhere like Landstar or somewhere similar to something of that dynamic and try to just do that for a while and get used to being an owner operator and running uh, with those parameters. But but tell me about used truck. How would you buy a used truck? Why would you recommend a used truck? Is it the
uh,
price point?
yeah,
Finances?
yeah, you're financing. I mean, you're because you could get. Yeah, at the end of the day, it all comes down to your monthly payment. So if you sign up to have this truck, after running and fuel, you have to gross so much money to pay for your truck payment every month. And you're talking, if you get a 2-year-old truck, your monthly payment is probably half as much. So, I just financed my brand new truck, which it's not really brand new. It only has 1,000 miles on it, but it's a 2024. So it sat on the lot for a year and a half. But that truck, I think my monthly payment is $2,400 a month, and that's a lot of money to cough up every month if you're a single owner operator. So compared to another truck, I just bought a 2021 truck. When did I? Like a year ago, I bought a 2021, and my monthly payment on that's only $900. So it's 3 times as much for my monthly payment that you have to get after your expenses to pay for your monthly payment, and that's on top of how much you're making to bring home. So
Yeah.
It's unless you've got a good gig where they're promising you, you have to figure out how much do I have to gross, how much do I have to earn every week or every month. So if there's 4.5 weeks in a month, how much do I have to gross to pay for that truck on top of my living expenses? So again, it's just, can you get a good consistent job that'll make your truck payments? Then go for a brand new truck. But if not, I think a 2-year-old truck, you're just as good. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a that's an interesting point because, you know, I I just think for me, I kind of wish, and just the market was so different back then. It was just trying to even get into the market was so hard. Well, it's a
Yeah,
lot easier now. It's a lot easier to buy a truck, but it's not. It's a lot harder to make money with a truck now, I would say.
right.
But
Well, you
it,
also
it
want to say, you would also want to say, what's my long term with this truck? Do I want to own this truck for 3 years or 10 years, or is this my retirement plan? How long do you want to see yourself in that truck? If you only want it for 3 years, maybe brand new, and then trade it in like the mega carriers do. So there's a lot of factors, yeah, that would go into that.
yeah. So so if you did buy a new truck, you wouldn't keep it. You would trade it out every 3 or 4 years or something after
Maybe
the warranty expired or something.
because I do have some contracted freight that requires we have 5-year old or newer trucks. They don't really check that, so it's like I could get away with it. But technically, I'm supposed to have new trucks,
Right, right, right.
and they can check that when they see our insurance for our our COIs. When yeah, they can ask our insurance to see if we have new trucks or not. So that'd be another factor. Maybe who you're hauling for, they require that you have brand new trucks.
That's true too, because some companies, they're a lot more lenient on the year of your truck and emission system of the truck and all that kind of stuff. While
Yeah,
some companies are a lot more um, stringent about who's running for them and what kind of truck you got and what it looks like and stuff like that too. So I totally get that, man. I totally get that. What transferring into freight now, man? Um, you've got some local freight, you got some OTR freight. Um, can you kind of just talk about the differences? I know with a truck driver, local means you're home every night. OTR means you're out on the road. You spend nights at truck stops and take showers, all that good stuff. Sleep with a sleeper berth truck. But I'm talking more along the lines of financially. Do you guys feel like you make more money local with that freight locally, or do you feel like you're bringing in more OTR, or is it kind of like even, or what's that looking like? Like the differences there is what I kind of want to get into. However you want to discuss the differences.
I mean, yeah, they would definitely look different. My local trucks, though, they're not like regular local, what you would call, because we specialize in hauling garbage. So those trucks have a lot more maintenance than someone pulling a local reefer or dry van would have. We have a lot more wear and tear on our tires. Um, we do a lot more windshields because the trucks
Yeah.
are so many nails. We've had to do so many tires. We go through tires like they're yesterday's lunch, and
Right.
so yeah, it's but that's more, I guess, consistent. Like you do this load 2 times a day, every week. So your income's consistent, I guess. So I can definitely gross more and make more if I send a truck over the road. But I really pride myself on getting my drivers home every week. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a local is more consistent. Over the road, you have the potential to make more. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your local is just more consistent, more like the same stuff every week. Here's what we're doing. Here's the contract. This is what we're going. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Boring.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, because I knew you did. I did know you did quite a bit of of local and OTR. What do you feel like is the easiest truck to work on mechanically? And talk about not just the brand of the truck, the type of, but also the motor. those kinds of things. Kind of talk about mechanically what are some of the easiest trucks to work on.
Uh, of the new trucks, I think Cummins are probably the best. I really like my Cummins trucks.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. They're all kind of the same when it comes to the emissions. They make them as hard as they can be. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. The Detroits are all right. They're not as hard to work on. I don't think for minor problems you can work on the Detroits, but Detroit did spend like $1.5 billion to research and develop the DD15 engine, and I don't think they did that out of the kindness of their heart. Um,
And then to like to make it harder to work on, like more
well,
specific.
just redesign it. I do like Detroit. I've got a couple Detroit engines, so I don't want to say anything mean, but the new engines are much more difficult to work on than the older mechanical ones. Um, but yeah, Cummins is probably my favorite. But it all depends on what your price point is. Is the Cummins engine worth 40 grand more than a Packard? I don't know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think if you're gonna buy, like, a brand new truck, just go ahead and get the Pack car and trade it out at the end of 4 years, you
yeah,
know? Like, it and it's I from what I understood too, the Pack car is supposed to last longer than the Cummins as well. Like, it's supposed to hold up, like, before you do a rebuild on it. What's your thoughts on that? You go ahead, talk about that.
I mean, my truck. So the first sleeper truck I bought, the name of it's Esmeralda. That was my first
Yeah?
my first blue Peterbilt. It's sitting at 800,000 miles right now with no rebuild. So it's almost at a million miles without having to do anything serious on it. But I've also had Cummins that needed an overhaul at 400,000 miles. That was not fun at all.
No, no, man. No.
we, I don't know, we've had to do a lot of rebuilds on the cats. Um, I haven't had to rebuild my Cascadias yet. They're not high enough mileage. So I don't know.
Yeah. But those cats, once you rebuild a motor once, the the mileage goes down to where you have to rebuild it the second time, correct? Like it kind of like the process of rebuilding a motor gets more repetitive the more times you rebuild it. Does that like I don't know if that's is that true or is that not true?
uh, maybe. I don't know. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But at that point, once you've already got your truck that's closer to 2 million miles, the truck's worthless anyways, unless you put a new engine in it. So the cost to put an engine in the truck is more than the truck's worth. So I mean, it really kind of depends. The people that are really rebuilding their engines 3 or 4 times, they're sticking with that truck for long term. So to them, it's worth it to just rebuild the truck than buy a new one. I don't know.
Um,
That
how much does it cost to rebuild a motor?
depends on how bad of shape it's in, because you have the liners, and I'm not a diesel mechanic, but you got all the different components inside the engine. If it's just a head, I don't want to say head job because that sounds bad, but if they're just doing,
Yeah.
that's a little bit cheaper, but you could be anywhere from 30 to 60,000 dollars depending on the state of the engine, and
And that's if is that if a shop does it or is that's if you do it?
that's if a
Your mechanics.
that's if a shop does it.
If a
So
shop does it.
yeah, so my Kenworth that I have, my 2019, it's a Cummins engine. I think they rebuilt it at 550,000 miles. I think it was, well, warranty will pay for some of that too. So I think the total bill, if I didn't have warranty, would have been 50,000, but warranty paid for about 30, so we paid 20. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. So yeah, we got a full in frame for 20 grand, but again, the warranty helped quite a bit with that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's yeah, so you would say the Cummins would be the all around best motor to kind of go with, would be your opinion on that.
Yeah,
Just in a general way for mechanically working on a truck.
for an owner operator, it's a single truck. I mean, I said it in that video before that I would probably recommend you get a Cummins if you're a single owner operator. But the pack cars do get way better fuel mileage, and they
Yeah,
are
it's a lighter motor. It's less weight.
yeah, it's significantly lighter, and it does get better fuel mileage if you're doing like light stuff, general freight. I
Yeah.
If you're doing heavy haul, don't buy a pack car. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there's perks to both, and there's downsides to both. So it just depends on what you're doing. But
Yeah. 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 It yeah. I don't know, man. It's there's so many different ways to go, and I always before, while people are watching this, I also just want to say too, there's never just one way to do things. People have success in different avenues, and so we're just talking about different avenues, and we're expressing our own opinions here. Like, don't take it as gospel, but when I bring somebody on who's owned multiple trucks, I want to know what they're doing, you know what I mean? And they have results to back them up. They've bought a couple trucks, they've sold trucks, they've worked on trucks, they've rebuilt trucks. So you got to be open to the people who have done it. So that's why I like having you come on, man. Um, which model and brand are the most reliable? So if you had to pick a truck, which one would it be? Like, would you say is reliable? Like reliability, like it's gonna hold up.
uh, I mean, I kind of said it earlier, but I really like the glider trucks that have the old engines that have been remanned and repurposed. So my red truck, I think the Detroit 12.7 is the best when it comes to longevity. Um, so yeah, if you could get a glider
Did it,
truck,
did it getting a glider truck? They're illegal now. They don't make them anymore, correct?
well, I need to be careful what I say because I don't know for fact, but you can still go if you want an engine swap, you can still put an engine in your own truck. But I think the EPA, which may be changing again this year, I don't know. They're saying they're going to change it again. But I believe you can still do that yourself. If you buy a scrap truck and if you put a new engine in it, you can still do that. But the big manufacturers are limited; they can't mass produce them anymore. So, but like if you had a catastrophic failure and you're driving your pack car and it throws a rod, you can still take that engine out and put a cat in it if you want to, because we've done that a few.
Really?
Um, that you're going to run into a lot of electrical problems and it's going to be a lot of kinks that you need to work out, but you can still make your truck a glider if you want to, if you really want to, but it'll cost more. So
Yeah, because those trucks are built for a particular motor, and then when you're changing that up, the whole electronic components and stuff, what's plugging into what? Is the window gonna roll down? Like just all kinds of stuff like that, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. I've known several people that have owned, you know, uh, Tony Tourette's trucker, man.
yep,
He owned that, what is it again?
in
The
green.
green truck? Mean Green, yeah.
He's
And,
the one that, I mean, he, I bought my truck because I followed his channel and I loved the way his truck looked. So that's why I bought my truck. It's
yeah, yeah, it's a pretty truck, man. Though, I mean, and it's the, Freightliner, what's
Coronado.
it called? Coronado, yeah, man. And does he have the D12 in there?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, yeah, the D12, and that's just the easiest motor to work on. And if any of you guys have ever pulled up the hood on a D12, you'll see it's so weird because everything is spaced out. It's
Mhm.
so simplistic in the layout of it, and it's yeah, yeah. It's a very it's that's like a top notch motor, man.
They
But
have their,
yeah,
but I think overall it'll probably last the longest if you're doing general freight. Yeah, those and the cats they last the longest, I think, for the most part. So,
yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Well, as for questions, guys, man, we're gonna wrap up this live video, man. I'll take a few questions, man. How about Swift? Question mark. I talked to a recruiter the today. He wouldn't give me the cents per mile at what they start at. Uh, bro, they need to give you the cents per mile. You need to know what you're getting paid before you get over there, man. Like that's a necessity, bro. Uh, I wouldn't say Swift is the worst company. I really wouldn't. you know, I at least at Swift, man, you know you're gonna get paid on Friday. That's what you're gonna get at least paid. You're gonna learn, and they're gonna have a bunch of other, like, dedicated specialized accounts in different areas, and that's the nice thing about Swift. There's a bunch of different stuff. Their hands are in all kinds of different little cookie jars.
Well,
So,
Swift has a lot of power only stuff. So if you have your own authority, you can contract with them. I've pulled a lot of Swift trailers, and they pay pretty good if you're a contractor. So
you had before you got OTR trucks, you did tell me this the other day. You had contracted Swift to come out, pick up some of your stuff, or something like that?
yeah, well, we did a. I mean, we had a. This was before we were even really doing a lot of trucking, but we owned a. The family business was a recycling center, and so we would ship recycled baled commodities. So that it wasn't like high priority freight. It was just cardboard bales and plastic bales for recycling.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's really what got us into over the road is during the driver shortage of 2020, the pandemic. Um, they Swift basically said, "Well, you're low priority. We'll get a truck to you when we can," and we just
yeah,
we
yeah.
so far behind. And we had the day cabs, and we had a couple old dry vans that we were just kind of using for storage. And I just remember saying, well, Spokane, Washington's only 700 miles away. I can do that in a day. Why don't I just start hauling it up there myself? And nobody told me how to drive over the road. I never had a trainer. So we're fully compliant now. We have e-logs, we have all that stuff. But I drove up to Spokane and back like many times without having my e-logs on because I didn't know I needed them. Um,
Right.
and that's kind of what got us into it. We just started buying some sleeper trucks and started hauling our own stuff because Swift left us hanging, and so that's really what it grew from. And then once I ran out of my own stuff to haul, I needed to start looking at other places to get some freight and keep my drivers busy, and it grew from there. So I haven't been in over the road very long, so I'm not as experienced as maybe somebody else, but we've come quite a long way in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you have for sure, man. The 34-hour reset, will you be at Matt's 2025? No, man, we're not gonna be there. Good evening, Wildbear. Good evening, Tim. How's it going, man? You go to Swift, you will be on Bonehead Truckers eventually. Probably so. Not what's a good average for lease, would you say, running hard where you're at, and what's the lease payment at Hirschbach? Dude, I always tell people if you're gonna come to Hirschbach on the lease purchase OTR side, you're gonna be making 14 to $1,800, man. And that's just that we got guys making more than that. We got guys making less than that. But on a good week, if you're staying out and you're doing what you need to do and getting the loads, picking up, delivering it, and not just boom, 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 and you got a good driver leader, it's gonna be 14 to 1,800, man. So the lease payment is I think what is my lease payment? 850, I think, or something like that. But I mean I get guaranteed pay, so I make the same every week. What about Schneider? Uh, Schneider, that's where I started, man. It's gonna be low pay, as a rookie truck driver, but you're gonna be low pay everywhere. Everywhere sucks pay right now, man. All the rookie companies that you're starting out as a rookie, the pay has just dropped so substantially. You don't have any negotiating power or anything like that. But Snyder's not bad at, like, dude, here's what I always say about these mega carriers, they got the freight. You're gonna be able to work, you're gonna get paid on Friday, they got the freight, you're gonna be busy, you're gonna learn, and you're just gonna get paid, man. And at the end of the day, man, take what all of these truck drivers make per week, take it with a grain of salt. Not everybody's a millionaire truck driver. There's a lot of them at these truck stops. They don't smell like $1 million, but they'll say they got $1 million. So, take everything with a grain of salt, and just focus the first year on your money and doing something. And yeah, Harold, it's not a bad company, dude. I've never, there's problems at Hirschbach, and there's things I don't like, but at the end of the day, I get paid and I work well with my driver leader and the people I work directly with, and and I just try to enjoy my job and have a positive attitude, and that makes a difference. Seth McIntosh, I've had my CDLA for a minute, but I'm thinking about going to Sprinter van expediting. Hey, that's cool, man. Hammer down, stay safe out there. I appreciate that. P.S. Godson. Sean Drass, I just started Bay and Bay lease purchase. Any ideas on how to make profit? Bro, burn the miles, man. Shut the door, say bye to mama, and burn the miles, man. It's just every week burning miles. So, do what you got to do, man. Um, well, I'm not going to take any more questions, dude. We're past 7 o'clock and I got to get up. I just started Hirschbach this month. Good job, Happy Trucking. Wildbeard, I'm with Hirschbach and I make my best week was 2000 and something, and my payments cause I'm a lease purchase paid as well. Hey, that's good, Harold. That's awesome, man. Uh, well, before we head out, man, what recommendation would you have for a truck driver, man? What would you recommend? What one piece of advice would you want to give all truck drivers who are watching this right now to the end?
Uh, Probably know what you're going to haul before you buy the truck.
Know what you're gonna haul before you buy the truck. Buy the truck based on the freight.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Because, we all love to look at the cool trucks that at the truck show. We all love the idea of owning our own trucks, but at the end of the day, you're hauling somebody else's stuff with it. The truck is just to haul and gross revenue. So um, unless you just want another cool, you know, Sunday stroll vehicle to sit, if you want another vehicle you're not going to drive, if you want a Camaro to sit in your driveway, you know, buy what you want with your money. But if you want a truck that's going to be able to pay for itself, you need to know what you're going to haul before you buy it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Tim Ivans, it's good to see you too, man. Thanks for coming on. You all heard it from the man. Buy the truck based on the freight, man. Don't buy it based on trying to be on some magazine or picking up a lot lizard, man. We don't buy trucks based on that, dude. We buy trucks based on the business. Buy it on the business. You're running a business. If you're gonna buy a truck, run a business. So stay business minded, guys. Listen, love God, love family, work hard, stay dangerous. Wild Beard out.